Welcome back to Open Mic with our friend Juan Williams talking about how President-elect Obama is putting together his cabinet. And Juan, it wasn't a surprise that Bill Richardson winds up with a high-profile job. But here's a man whose experience is widespread, but in foreign policy, and he winds up as Secretary of the Commerce. How do you explain that?
Well, there are a number of ways to talk about it. One is Penny Pritzker, who was the top fundraiser for Barack Obama, heirs to the Hilton hotel fortune, didn't want the job. She was thought of as the person who was the leading candidate. And then you got to remember that Bill Richardson has all this experience that you were just referring to, Scott. He's one guy who's gone face-to-face with Saddam Hussein. I mean, he's met with Castro. He's been over there with the North Koreans. He's brought home hostages. So the idea was to take advantage of his foreign policy expertise, his ability to talk to people. And I think President-elect Obama saw in Bill Richardson someone who was also a clear signal to the world that this is about free trade. Remember, during the campaign, what happened with Obama was he got himself into a position where he was talking about, well, I'll renegotiate NAFTA, the U.S. agreement with Mexico and Canada about free trade. I think now, with Richardson in place, everybody knows, let's forget what happened during the campaign. That was so much talk. It's really about ending all sorts of protectionist things that might limit the U.S. ability to do trade around the world.
Let me pass on to you something I heard from a Chicago politician, because I asked her, isn't this a little bit of a disappointment for Bill Richardson? And she said, well, no, actually. He can be in the cabinet for 2, 3, 4 years and write his own ticket in the business world thereafter. That's what happens when you're Secretary of Commerce.
And let me just tell you that the word among politicians is that Bill Richardson isn't done being a politician. So in his mind, even if he were to stay in the job and then leave and not go into the private sector, which is, I think your friend is exactly right, Chicago piles often are, but in terms of a stepping stone for future political office, whatever it might be. Remember, he was an energy secretary before. He's been UN ambassador as well as governor of New Mexico. This is a real stepping stone for him because it puts him on the world stage at a critical moment in terms of the American economy. He's going to be the guy dealing with China. That's an amazing opportunity. He's the guy dealing with what has been stuck in the Congress over the last several years now, this Colombia trade deal, because of the difficulties unions have organizing in Colombia. He's also going to have to deal with Bolivia. They have a deal that's right now suspended with the U.S. in terms of trade because of drugs and the increased drug production in Bolivia. All of that's going to be Bill Richardson. And the one concession he wrung from Obama before agreeing to take the job was, I'm on your economic team. That means in terms of the stimulus package, Bill Richardson's at the table.
Okay. Well, talk to you next week.
It's a deal.
Thanks for joining us again on Open Mic.